This story begins from early morning to evening. A boy demonstrates his unwavering commitment. At 7 a.m. he runs 10 kilometers in the rain, each step reflecting his dedication. By 12 p.m. noon, he's intensely focused on delivering 500 precise head strikes using kendo. At 5 p.m. he's in the gym pushing through 10 sets of bench presses, squats and deadlifts. His body screams in pain, but he pushes on, driven by an unyielding determination as he is being yelled at by the buffed trainer beside him. After enduring this grueling 14-day routine, the guy decides to resign from his job. He marches into his boss's office and slams his resignation letter on the desk, causing whatever hair his boss has to fall. As he continues to work out in the gym, he then reflects on a question someone once asked him if he had suddenly gone crazy. He answers in his head that perhaps it would have been better if he had gone mad. But then his eyes reflected something bright. A message ominously appears, telling him that the door to the end of days is opening soon. The message is clear. It wanted him to prepare for the end with a recommended quest of strength and cardio exercises while also learning kendo. There were also 5 seconds left until the end of the day. Seeing this, he thinks the world is ending soon. After the countdown ominously ticks down from 5 seconds to 0, filling him with adrenaline and dreading as the final moments approach. 15 days ago, cell phones that were held in everyone's hands across Jongno-gu blared a critical disaster message, giving off an alert warning that monsters were near in one mountain, urging immediate evacuation for citizens that were nearby. Panic ensued as people tried to comprehend the chaos. A student thinking it might be a prank is startled by another alert about monsters near Seorik Mountain, threatening Seoul with further notifications that reveal monsters appearing in Incheon at Simgok Park. The escalating alerts cause widespread alarm and confusion, but it's as if that was not enough. Another notification pops up with an even more chilling title, showing monsters have appeared. Not a joke. It includes a live video by a streamer named Sakurella. A man with blonde hair was hiding in fear behind a tree as he spotted a giant figure near him. His voice trembles as he tells his viewers that a monster has really appeared. The stream chat is filled with comments, some not believing it, others mocking the streamer. Still hiding behind the tree, the streamer excitedly questions his audience, wondering if he should go a little closer since he came all the way there. Laughter erupts in the comments, with some suggesting he play red light green light with the creature. Another joke is that this is the reason why men die faster. Amid the banter, someone points out that the monster is moving right now. The comment section suddenly fills with panic warnings, shouting at the streamer that the monster was behind him. But the guy still didn't believe his chat, thinking that they were just messing with him. He insists that he was looking at the monster and that it wasn't moving, but his doubt is shattered as the monster growls from right behind him. A loud shout echoes through the stream, sending a wave of horror through the watching crowd. A man listening to the stream jolts as a scream erupts from his phone, surprising him with its intensity and realism. He furrows his brow, wondering why the video looks so disturbingly real. Walking through the bustling public square, he notices others around him also receiving disaster alert text messages about what on earth is happening today. He mutters to himself, feeling a growing sense of unease. This is Lee Ho-young, a 29-year-old man, who feels the weight of life's daily struggles. Making a living is already hard enough, and now they're talking about monsters and whatnot. He questions who would believe in something like that. He sighs, deeply frustrated by the sheer number of faked videos recently as he continues down the street. His eyes widened as he looked down upon something. There before him is a white-skinned goblin with long white hair with a shackle on its leg, breathing heavily as it bleeds from a bear trap. He feels a chill run down his spine seeing the monster. This is kind of scary. He thinks maybe it's best to run for now. He says aloud that today is the day the math teacher is supposed to come. The monster, sensing that our boy was actually going to just run away, started to call out to him by growling, but then surprisingly looked at him with pleading eyes, as though it was a female-led character. But a feeling of a mix of disgust and confusion causes our boy to shake as he looks at the goblin. He can't help but think that it was asking him to help it. Despite the monster's attempts to act cute and ask for help, it's still too freaking ugly for him to help. Ho-young reminds himself firmly that he's a human and that's a monster, but those tear-filled puppy eyes make him hesitate. He wrestles with his thoughts, admitting he isn't someone who can easily show compassion to a monster. Thinking hard and practically, he decides he can't help it no matter how pitiful it looks. But just as he's about to walk away, the monster reveals a small photograph of its family, showing 2 other goblin parents hugging her. All of them doing the same peace sign as the photo is being taken. The goblin wipes its tears with a handkerchief, silently pleading for help. After seeing this new sight of the goblin, Ho-young was engulfed by a bright golden light as he was shocked by this sudden Uno reverse card attack from the goblin herself. After some time, he finds himself holding a small pouch in his hands with a small golden ball glistens under the light. As he examines it, a system dashboard appears in front of him displaying the words Silver Goblin Pill. The description trails off, telling him that once consumed one will obtain something that was covered in question marks. He recalls helping the goblin, a creature he never thought he did, yet here he is holding a gift from it. The pouch in his hands feels unreal, almost like a dream. Curious as he reaches out to the dashboard and wonders what this silver goblin pill is. His finger passes through, prompting him to wonder if this something like a hologram. He thinks to himself, who would eat something so suspicious? But his contemplation is abruptly interrupted by the voice of a news anchor on the TV. The anchor reports that unknown large buildings have appeared all over the world. The screen shows these ominous towers, and the anchor continues saying that contact has been lost with the army that went into the tower. The appearance of unknown monsters. These strange towers. Could the apocalypse really be starting? The thought sends a chill down his body. He stands up, eyes fixed on the TV, his mind racing with possibilities. Suddenly a deafening blast shakes the ground, the shock wave rattling the windows. Panic grips him as he stares wide-eyed at the window. Chaos erupts everywhere. People frantically run and stare in shock at the destruction caused by the tower. TV channels broadcast urgent news about the scene, announcing to everyone that in Korea was a particularly alarming, massive tower that had appeared out of nowhere amidst the chaos. Ho Young stands with his eyes fixed on the tower. He clenches his fist, glancing at the status window in front of him, which repeats the same ominous message about the silver goblin pill. He didn't know if what he was about to do was the correct choice, but he knew he had to act when he swallowed the pill. His mind raced with the thought that this time, it might be the only chance to do something as crazy as this. As the pill enters his body, a strange sensation washes over him. His eyeballs start to dart fiercely as it changes to a blue color, and he notices a status window popping up announcing that he has obtained Sage's status window. This new status window promises to provide the highest rate of survival in his current situation. A blue light appears before him, and from it, a book materializes, landing in his hands. He opens it and a blinding flash envelops him. The book merges into another status window titled Guide, giving an alarming declaration that the door to the end of the world is opening soon, with 15 days 4 hours 12 minutes and 52 seconds remaining until doomsday. A window advises him to prepare by engaging in strength exercises. The urgency of the situation presses down on him, but he follows these instructions in the hope of surviving what is to come by giving up on everything else for 15 days to focus on just exercising. Now in the present, he stares at the status window before him, which reads the door of the end has opened, and he's in the middle of a forest. He wonders if this might be the end. Looking around his surroundings, he felt that they differed from what he imagined. Glancing back at the sword behind him, the status window labels it a blunt sword, and he wonders if it really is one of the status window responds by indicating that the game starts now and the tutorial is beginning. Multiple windows come up showing that the aptitude test has been completed, and based on data analysis he has been assigned the most suitable class called Combat Swordsman. Shocked by the sudden information, Ho Young questions what this means. Another window appears instructing him to open the status window for more details. He started to be overwhelmed by the huge amount of information as he found too many things to read. Examining his profile reveals the key details he needed to know. His current class is a combat swordsman at level 1 with skills in basic swordsmanship and access to Sage's status window. His stats show HP at full and MP at 10, with 4 other stats outlined with no remaining points to allocate swinging his sword. He reflects on whether being a combat swordsman means things are really starting now to clear. Looking at the current challenge, he must survive in the forest for 1 hour or find an exit hidden somewhere within the forest and escape. As indicated by another status window, he thinks that if this is the tutorial, it should give him some time to get used to the game before it starts. A status window catches his eye, stating that Sage's status window will provide the guide with the highest rate of survival in his current situation. Another window for the guide advises Ho Young to use all 60 minutes of the tutorial to kill as many monsters as possible, suggesting that the second objective would hinder his growth and is not recommended. He realizes that he can use it here too, guessing that the Sage's status window knew this situation would occur, which was why it told him to exercise and practice kendo. As he starts moving, he recalls the guide's advice to hunt the monsters and concludes that it is best not to run away from the forest. Just as the system announces that the tutorial will start now, rustling in the bushes reveals a small animal-like monster with a huge horn on its head. Seeing a red status window labeling it as a one-horned raccoon, he thinks it is cuter than he imagined. But then the raccoon growls, turning into a horror show monster, and leaps to attack. But with sharp reflexes and basic swordsmanship, Ho Young slashes it away. He gains experience points by killing the monster. Looking at how it died from a single hit from basic swordsmanship, he felt that it was pretty weak, which made sense since it was a tutorial monster. He calculates that basic swordsmanship consumes 2 megapixels per use, and with a total of 10 megapixels he can utilize it 5 times before exhausting his MP. Which meant that he needed to preserve his MP while hunting. He continued slicing through, only thinking of basic swordsmanship, and with a final blow he killed the last one. Multiple status windows appear showing he has gained experience points, leveled up to 2 recovered HP and MP, and earned points to increase his stats. He now has 2 remaining points. Relieved, he notes the nice timing of his level up as his mana is about to be depleted, but his happiness is interrupted as new status windows replace the old ones. One window explains the weight of knowledge, stating that having the Sage's status window means he will level up slower compared to other players. Our boy was shocked as he learned there is a penalty for having Sage's status window. Frustrated, he grits his teeth, unable to believe the level he gained was taken away. He wonders when he will be able to level up again, cursing the ridiculous handicap calling the status window again. He examines his stats once again. But then he noticed something that was weird. He still had the 2 points he could use to allocate to his stats. Thinking about the possibilities, Ho Young slowly realizes that what he has isn't a penalty, but an overpowered bug-like ability. Swinging his sword, fiercely slicing through the raccoons with a ferocity that leaves no room for error. Ho Young's eyes lock onto the status windows that appear before him as a rush of excitement floods him as they announce that he has gained experience points and has now reached level 2. However, just as quickly as the windows appear they vanish into thin air, leading him to staring at his stats. He has fallen back to level 1 just as he anticipated, yet he sees that his remaining points are steadily increasing to 4 points now. He thinks to himself that the more he levels up, the more experience points he will need for the next level. This thought ignites a spark of strategy in his mind. It might be easier to raise his stats directly than to go through the grind of leveling up in the usual way. Thinking about it deeply, he contemplates his next move as he knows he must act wisely. His gaze shifts to his 4 choices, which were stamina, strength, agility and sensitivity. He narrows down his choices with a determined look in his eyes. Strength and agility would be the best for a combat swordsman, as strength would enable him to deliver more powerful attacks while agility would enhance his speed and reflexes, making him a formidable opponent. But after deliberating for some time, he selected sensitivity as the stat to increase for now, as he felt that this was what he needed the most right now. A new status window appears, confirming Ho Young's choice of increasing his sensitivity by 4 points. After a while, he relentlessly slaughters the one-horned raccoons and marvels at how weak they seem as tutorial monsters given how easily he defeats them with the default stats he had at the beginning. Glancing at his status window, he sees the instruction to utilize the entire 60-minute tutorial to kill as many monsters as possible. As he surveys his surroundings, he realizes the real challenge is finding enough raccoons within the time limit. Noticing his sensitivity stat was leveled to 20, a sense of triumph washes over him as finding the raccoons has become much easier with his enhanced sensitivity. Feeling his newfound abilities, he's almost giddy with excitement, thinking he can now sense a kind of chi. But his happiness fades as dark energy looms behind him, accompanied by a notification stating he has defeated all monsters and a hidden quest is activated. A fierce roar pierces the air as a giant monster with a bright red aura emerges, and the status window commands him to defeat the level 2 one-horned raccoon alpha. Staring at the new beast, Ho Young wonders what the hell it was. Fear creeps into his mind as the raccoon alpha tightens its claws and leaps towards him with immense strength and speed. Instinctively, our boy jumps back, narrowly avoiding the attack and tumbling far away from the new boss monster. Panting hard as he tries to catch his breath, Ho Young grapples with the realization that it's incredibly fast and that this monster is the boss. The alpha stomps its feet into the ground while Ho Young struggles to steady his nerves, as this creature was unlike the others he had faced before. The alpha raccoon charges again, but with a determined glare. Our boy swings his sword, slicing through it. Relief floods him as he thinks it's doable. The status window confirms his victory. He has defeated the boss, cleared the hidden quest and earned gold. Catching his breath, he gazes at the alpha's dead body, feeling a swell of pride knowing that he was actually now level 7. The window reappears stating he has completed the tutorial. He hadn't expected the hour to stretch so long, but now it's over. But it isn't over yet, as Ho Young suddenly finds himself in a different place, surrounded by a crowd of people. Confusion sets in as he thinks about where he was right now, but then a speaker crackles to life, welcoming everyone and announcing their successful completion of the tutorial. The crowd listens intently as the voice continues, explaining that they are in the lobby of the tower, specifically the C-267 region. Ho Young's mind races as he looks around. He counts 14 men and 11 women, wondering if all of them finished the tutorial too. A woman behind him murmurs about being in a different place again, while a man demands to be sent home, observing the chaos and people crying for their mothers and insisting it's all a dream. Our boy understands their panic as the entire world had just changed in a single day. Had he not known the end was near, he probably would panic like them too, but he steels himself, clenching his fist. He reminds himself that he must stay calm and survive. A woman's voice breaks through, asking where they are. A mysterious voice responds, telling her that they are in the Tower of the End. The woman looks down and sees a rabbit-like creature dressed in a suit. A level 55 player called Kum Kum. The creature introduces itself as the cutie of the tower and the lower floor manager Kum Kum. Disbelief spreads as a man questions if Kum Kum was just a kid in a rabbit suit, while another wonders if it brought them here. Kum Kum observes their reactions, thinking, "This is normal." Ho Young stepped forward, asking Kum Kum about what they're supposed to do if this is really the end of the world. Pointing a finger at our boy, Kum Kum responds that what Ho Young said was a great question. The manager, with a sinister chuckle, reveals that all 22 players will now participate in a game with their lives at stake, hearing that the crowd is thrown into chaos. Panicking as well, Ho Young fought to maintain his composure as Kum Kum reveals that all the humans of Earth were now in the tower right now, and that they needed to work together for each mission on each floor to climb the tower. Ho Young continues to question him if they can return to their normal lives upon reaching the tower's top. Kum Kum, with a mischievous wink, admits that it doesn't know. Annoyed by that reply, Ho Young presses on, questioning the point of climbing the tower, but Kum Kum turns his back cryptically, stating that some things don't need meaning and that only death awaits those who don't climb. Silence fell over the crowd as Kum Kum mentions that many people have already perished in the tutorial. Shock gets Ho Young hard as he hadn't considered this fact, as it was just the tutorial, but many people likely couldn't survive it. Faces of people he knew flash before his eyes as he remembers them, and despair grips him. Kum Kum then asks if anyone here was willing to kill him. He promises a special reward for the one that helps him, as he needed to die in order to get home. But Ho Young's mind races, thinking that this was a trap despite Kum Kum's harmless appearance. He was still a level 55, something that he couldn't beat right now, so he decided to stand back and watch for now. A status window appears suddenly, advising him to help Kum Kum get home. Conflicted, Ho Young questions whether attacking the rabbit was a wise choice as sweat drips down his hand. He thinks that it wouldn't hurt to listen to the guide since it had helped him so far, but questions whether he should do something this crazy. But just as he was deciding, a man steps forward, volunteering to kill Kum Kum, saying if he wants to die so badly then he should kill it. Hearing him, Ho Young gets upset now that he was too late. The man prepares for the attack, vowing to make it as painful as possible. He charges at the rabbit, who was standing still, waiting for the strike, but then the man's face was met with a rather powerful punch, sending him flying towards the crowd as Kum Kum calls him weak. Only a path of blood could be seen going past everyone before a huge splatter of blood appears on the wall behind them. Stunned at the sudden transformation of Kum Kum and the tragic end of the man, Kum Kum sarcastically apologizes for counter-attacking. Panic spreads with people screaming and fleeing, shouting about the man's death. Ho Young was rooted in place, consumed with fear, knowing that it could have been him if he had volunteered first. Kum Kum reverted to his original form and tried to calm everyone down, laughing off the incident as a mistake and asking if there were any more volunteers. Even after what happened, the guide was still asking Ho Young to help the lower floor manager Kum Kum get home.
Thanks for watching the latest part from the voice of Manhwa. Subscribe for more content and don't forget to comment below what you want to see in the future. Like and share for more.